Welcome back. You know, from October the 5th and the 6th, the Depressed Black Gay Men Organization, they're going to hold their 2017 In My Mind Conference. Joining us with all the details of the organization, we have the president here, the president and CEO of the company, Antoine Craigwell. We welcome you to
Thank you very much, Bob.
Open. Now, you're no stranger to Open. You've been here before.
Yes, and I'm actually grateful to be back again to talk about this conference.
Well, tell us a little bit about the organization first.
The organization is specifically committed to raising awareness of mental health affecting black gay men to prevent them from committing suicide, including contracting HIV as a passive form of suicide. What the board decided in 2014 was to expand the organization's reach. And so we decided to do a summit in Rutgers in Newark. In 2015, we did it at Mount Sinai. Last year, we had the first two-day conference at the Alexander Hamilton building. And so this year, we are doing another two-day conference at the Stewart Hotel. Because we recognize that in the LGBT people of color communities, none of us are really actually black. Yeah. We're all different shades of brown. And so in the community, nobody's really talking about their mental health. The rates of HIV are higher among blacks and Latinos. There are a lot of Native American in the Native American communities who are struggling with substance use, alcohol use, and suicide. Yeah. And we see that in a lot of Asian and Indian communities that there's a high rates of domestic abuse, domestic violence. And there's also issues of intimate partner violence between people of same sex. Yeah. And so the questions are, what are some of the mental health factors that are driving these behaviors?
And what have you found?
That by being able to address the mental health, by actually taking it out of the shadows of stigma and having these conversations, yeah, we're able to say to people, you know what? You're not alone in what you're experiencing, that you can go and get the help that you need. But then on the flip side of that, you've got the federal government, that people were really happy back in 2014 in January when the Affordable Care Act afforded people mental health coverage. But now, with the Affordable Care Act under threat, and with the White House now talking about removing LGBT rights, that an employer can fire somebody for being LGBT, and we know that there are at least 21 states in the union, yeah, that you can be fired for being LGBT. You can lose your house because you're LGBT. We know that in at least 28 states, you can still be criminally convicted for being HIV positive and not notifying someone. So when all these things pile on, what we have is an issue that people are not sure how to be, what to be, that their sense of self is denied. They don't have a sense of who am I and where do I fit into this world? And so consequently, they will try to find ways and means to cope, to survive, which include lots of drug use. So for example, we see in the black and Latino communities a high incidence of crystal meth use. And we see also a high incidence of opium, heroin use in the black and Latino community. Yep. The rates of HIV, for example, is still rising, in as much as there's talk about, you know, safe sex and Truvada and pre-exposure prophylaxis, yeah, still the numbers are rising. The CDC has declared that at least 1 in 2 men who have sex with men will contract HIV at some point in time in their lives. Now, what is not...
Do you think that scare is missing? I mentioned this before a couple of other times. In the 80s, there was a big scare. Oh, watch out, this thing is coming and we don't know what's happening with, and people were really taking a look at what they were doing. But do you think with the invention of all the drugs,
all the new drugs,
that it was like a shot of penicillin and will help you, or help suppress it?
But it's also
think people are still acting?
Yes, because that is the equivalent of putting a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound, because we're not really looking at the underlying factors that are driving people's behavior. So
there's a major mental health issue that's going on.
There's a major mental health need to be addressed that's going on. Yeah. So when we talk about mental health, you also have the concomitant factors such as poverty, education, access to health care, jobs. Mm-hmm. So if you don't feel good about yourself, if you don't feel you have a place in society, then you're going to just want to just check out.
Yeah. So your organization is coming up with something big to help create the awareness and bring some help.
Well, to remove the stigma about mental health. In black and brown communities, we don't want to talk about mental health because we've been conditioned through slavery and post-slavery that if you're dealing with a mental health issue, you're lazy, you're crazy, you're stupid, you don't have a place. But we are saying that everyone, or at least many people, struggle with mental health. Yeah. And this is an opportunity to bring it out of the shadows, remove the stigma, and say, you're not alone. You can find help, and you can move on and achieve your potential.
So you can help break that stigma.
This is what the conference is doing.
So how's it going to look? You know, what date is it?
The conference
is the 5th and 6th.
It's the 5th and 6th, which is Thursday and Friday coming. We've got a whole panel of speakers, including Earl Folks from the Center for Black Equity, Kenyon Farrow. We've got Joanne Moore and Craig Panel from the AIDS Institute. We've got 2 transgender black women, Kiara St. James and Octavia Lois. We've got Janae Williams from GLAD. We've got Dr. Hansel Arroyo, Derek Butler from Gilead. But over the 2 days...
They have the OraSure and all that stuff that...
We're not doing HIV.
You're not screening?
No, because this is not an HIV conference. It's not about HIV.
It's about to create the awareness about the mental health stigma.
Mental health, to remove, so we can begin to have that conversation.
Yes.
Over the 2 days, we've got about 30 panel discussions, 30 different workshops over 2 days. Right now, we are showing that we are almost running out of space for people registering.
All right, I'm going to give you a camera. We always give up a camera. You can just ask for what you need.
Well, to anyone who's listening and who's watching this, we invite you to come and register for the conference. But I also want to mention one thing, is that we have started 2 groups, one called Sons and another one called Her. Sons are for gay men of color who have not been accepted by their mothers, and Her is for women of color whose sons have died from HIV/AIDS or committed suicide. So the conference is October 5th and 6th, and you're more than welcome to go online to dbgm.org and register there. Click on the flyer on the page and go through to the registration. You can see the conference schedule there, and we look forward to welcoming you.
All right. Give him a big hand, everybody. Antoine B. Craigwell, President and CEO, DBGM Incorporated. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bob.
To see you.
Good to see you.
We have to take a quick break right here, but don't go anywhere. Take a look at this program designed to help you, well, get away from a day. You want to get away for a day? We'll let you know how. Stay tuned.